Welcome back to Minnesota. Travis Bazzana was named a first-time All-Star just this past weekend, and what a trip it has been for him. Starting off at Torramora High School in Sydney, Australia. Had to make a short trip. It wasn't really short. Look at how many miles that is to get to Corvallis, Oregon, where he played at Oregon State. And from there, Baz, as you guys have watched, battled his way to being the #1 pick in the Major League Baseball draft by the Cleveland Guardians. He made that short distance. That was a short trip compared to all the other ones to get to Progressive Field. In a short amount of time, he's made his way all the way to the All-Star game. And this is the shortest trip, really, just 460 miles to get to Philadelphia, Citizens Bank Park. I sat down with Travis Bazzana to talk about the journey that he has had, how long it's taking him to get here, what he's had to do to get here, and he just talked about the hard work when no one was looking.
And there's time where there's people there to watch you work, there's times that there's not, and I enjoy the process of trying to be the best player I can be. So yeah, I mean, you see it also like with Parker and Cade. I mean, those two guys are getting the nod, and they work their butts off, you know. Those two are dedicated to the game, and their routines and their preparation, it pays out to where they're all-stars also. So I mean, I think it's pretty consistent with a lot of the great players, and hopefully I can become one of those one day, but I think the work ethic and sticking to that process is going to help me.
In basketball, we would call a person like that a gym rat. I think when you look at Travis Bazzana, he's a baseball rat. He's always going to be in the dugout or working out somewhere, and he's always going to be ready to go. Eric likes walking in front, and I think that's the most beautiful thing about what he has, and he looks at the work ethic of all the other guys, and he's going to keep working because he's told me he may be listed as an all-star, but we haven't even seen the best of what he's going to be able to do. So look forward to seeing Travis Bazzana at the All-Star game. But first, here from Minnesota, you're going to see Travis Bazzana lead off against Taj Bradley and the Minnesota Twins. We're in the AL Central in another big battle coming up here on Guards TV.
I can.
Back here in Minneapolis, Target Field, Guardians Twins getting ready for action. Bet365 betting odds tonight. Travis Bazzana will be the leadoff man for Cleveland. He was just 2 for 10 in the series against Minnesota earlier this year in Cleveland, but he did have a home run in that series. Guardians lineup brought to you by Progressive. After Bazzana, Khalil Watson in the 2-hole. He's in center field tonight. Chase DeWater will bat third. Then Kyle Manzardo hitting cleanup, followed by the DH Rhys Hoskins. Ryan Rocchio will bat 6th, followed by Daniel Schneemann. Patrick Bailey behind the plate hitting 8th, and Stephen Kwan, it's left field, will bat 9th.
Yeah, tonight we got Taj Bradley, 96, 98, can reach triple digits with that fastball, a lot of carry through the zone, cutter split and a curveball. You're going to see a lot of cutters to right-hand hitters, a lot of splits to left-hand hitters. Both of them are tough to hit, but that cutter can be especially difficult if he's throwing at the bottom of the zone.
Here's a look at the defense behind Taj Bradley tonight. Austin Martin is in left field. Kyler Fedko in center. Luke Keyshaw is in right. Brooks Lee at third. Ryan Kreidler, the shortstop. Cody Clemens at second. Royce Lewis over at first. And Victor Caratini will do the catching. Marvin Hudson will call the balls and strikes this evening. He's the crew chief. Ryan Additon, your first base umpire. Ryan Blackney at second. Nick Marley down at third. This is the same umpiring crew we had in Chicago on the Guardians' last road trip. First pitch outside, ball 1 to Travis Bazzana, and we are underway. Guardians come in at 47-44, 1 game back of the White Sox in the Central. Twins creeping up. They're just 4 games off the pace, 3 games under 500, as Bazzana swings and misses at the split to even the count at 1-1. These two teams of late have been trending in opposite directions. Guardians come in, they've lost 11 of their last 19, while Minnesota has won 12 of their last 19 games. So Minnesota trying to put themselves back into contention. And Cody, you have to imagine if you're Derek Shelton and everybody in that Twins dugout, you're looking at this series as a big one to legitimize that push towards the All-Star break.
Yeah, I mean, the American League Central, there's a lot of teams vying for just a couple spots at the top of that division. So, I mean, it really is. It's one good homestand away from putting yourselves in a position where you're going into not only the All-Star break, but the trade deadline as buyers instead of potentially sellers.
2 balls, 2 strikes for Bazzana. And Bradley delivers. Bazzana bangs it deep right field, but it's going to hook foul.
That right there was the mistake that you're looking for. 2-2, sat on a split right there, didn't abandon the split finger, you know, because he's got 98, 99, right? Yeah, look at this. A split that just kind of stays in the middle. He just catches it out in front. But, I mean, you got to be ready for that 98, 99.
Swung out and missed. Bradley has the first out on a strikeout.
Yep, that's the cutter down and in. That's what we talked about early. You know, he throws the split that's going one way and then back foot to the cutter right there. That's a well-executed pitch, one that was a strike for a long time, and then right at the very end, it kind of just finishes down and in. He just quite can't get the barrel to it.
Here is Khalil Watson. And Khalil has been swinging the bat very well. He's hit in 10 of his last 13 games, batting over 300 during that stretch. I want to go back to that cutter, though, that he executed so well to get Bazzana. Look, they can call it whatever they want, but that sure looks like a good old-fashioned slider.
It really is. You know, the metrics may read it as a quote-unquote cutter, but its profile and what it does and how he uses it, he doesn't use it as a cutter. He uses that thing as a slider. You know, that's not, you know, most cutters guys are using that to, outside of like a Mariano Rivera, they're using it to maybe get back in the counter and do soft contact. That pitch right there has got so much depth on it, right? That it's a swing and miss pitch, especially when located at the bottom.
Like that. There's a splitter, and he strikes out Khalil Watson. 2 down.
I imagine we're going to see a lot of those. Yeah, watch it. Yeah, look at that grip right there. You know, and it's honestly a lot of splitters. You know, they kind of almost have that kind of knuckleball tumbling spin. That one's got enough spin that it really kind of hides for a long time until it's right on top of you.
Cody, it almost looks like he's throwing a changeup.
It does. You know what? Honestly, it is. It's probably a changeup grip with just a split right there on top.
A quick 1-2-3 first inning of work for Taj Bradley, and the Twins are coming to bat against Joey Cantillo when we come back.
Normally large tonsils.
Bottom of the first inning, and here's a rare oddity. Joey Cantillo has the same 1-loss record and ERA as the guy he's pitching against tonight, Taj Bradley.
That probably doesn't.
7-3 and 3.86 ERA.
That probably doesn't happen very often, especially this deep in the year. You might see it in April or May, but not in July. Not in July.
What do you think that he's got to execute number 1 tonight?
I mean, obviously his Achilles heel is the walk, right? We can't walk guys, and we got to stay in advantage counts so they can't keyhole your fastball. But there you go. I mean, strike 1 for him is so important, right? You know, that's 94. You know, he's got a good fastball, but his curveball and his changeup are elite. He gets great extension on both. They're really hard to see, and they've got great finish. So when you can put hitters on the defensive and they got to try and cover both of them, like that right there. I mean, he went 94 up top, curveball right behind it. Austin Martin sitting at the plate right now. He is in straight battle mode right now. He really can't try and keyhole and do damage. He's just trying not to strike out at this point.
Yeah, that's not a good sign for a hitter or a lineup when the guy comes out and executes 2 pitches right out of the gate like that. You're like, uh-oh, it could be a long night, boys.
Yep, especially, I mean, you know, especially for a guy like Martin who, you know, he's the first batter of the game. They're trying to see, you know, hey, what's this guy got tonight, right? We want to see some pitches. You know, obviously we know what kind of stuff he's got, but then you find yourself in an 0-2 hole here pretty quick.
Swung out and missed. He came right back with that curveball, and it is nasty.
Yeah, that's a dandy right there, and that one is a strike the whole time, and then it's just got teeth right at the very end.
Here's a look at the rest of the Minnesota lineup for Derek Shelton tonight. Brooks Lee, a switch hitter, followed by Josh Bell, Royce Lewis, Victor Caratini, and Cody Clemens in the middle. Ryan Kreidler, Luke Keyshaw, Tyler Fedko batting 9th. Brooks Lee has really opened some eyes this year. He is third in the majors among switch hitters and home runs with 14.
Yeah, that's not surprising when you really look at his setup. You know, obviously he's a big, strong guy, but he's got a really flat bat path through the zone, and he can hit a good fastball with just about anybody, which, you know, obviously Cleveland knows and Joey knows because he started him off with a really good changeup there, followed up by a curveball. I expect against him tonight, the fastballs you're going to see are ones that are going to be elevated. They're going to be in moving feet so that you can open up the back foot breaking ball or get to that changeup away. But he is as good a fastball hitter as there is in the American League right now.
0-2 pitch. And the curveball missed. So when you have a guy that everybody in the room when you're game planning identifies as this is a good fastball hitter. So essentially you just want to show him the fastball, but you don't want to have to really challenge him with one.
Well, it also depends on the guy you're talking to, right? Like Joey's got a good fastball, but his curveball and his changeup are his calling cards, right? Like look right there.
There's a challenge coming from Patrick Bailey. He thought it was strike three. ABS is powered by T-Mobile. And it is strike three call.
Call him turn to strike.
Yeah, so I mean, we talk about the fastball right there. That fastball right there, it works, right? You talk about show me or you take your shots. That fastball right there worked because of the curveball right before it, right? He bounced one, you know, he's looking. I mean, that absolutely locks him up at the bottom of the zone right there at 95.
Josh Bell tried to go the other way. A diving attempt by Bazzana, but it's by him. And Josh Bell with a hit in his third consecutive game. Boy, he's turning into a great sign for these Minnesota Twins. 60 runs batted in to lead the club. And now that'll bring us to our Toyota keys to the game. Now the Twins are a team much like Chicago. They want to try to outslug you. And if you can get into the bullpen against Minnesota, that could be your path to victory.
You got a shot, you know, and that's kind of this Guardians team's identity too, is their starting pitching is so good. They keep them in the games. They keep them in the games. And then when you get late in the game, it's your bullpen versus their bullpen. You got to like your chances.
Royce Lewis. Now you were explaining something to me earlier when we were walking over. Royce Lewis, his setup at the plate, and you mentioned Mike Trout of the Angels employing a similar tactic in that before he sets his feet, his back foot will actually go backwards.
Yeah.
And then he's moving forward.
Yep. Yeah. You know, I feel like Trout has what he did earlier this year, and kind of everybody kind of keying in on it, right? And everybody's seeing it. Yeah. Here, you watch here, right? And then drops back. All he's trying to do is he's trying to plant his foot in the ground and really lock in that backside, really try and load up using the ground to store some energy back there and get ready to swing. You know, I don't know if it's something that he's had to start doing because of his lower half injuries that he's had.
It is.
Is it, Andre?
That's exactly it, Cody. You're on it. Keep going.
No, it's one of those things. It's a feel thing, right? You see a lot of pitchers will do it. You know, they'll do one-legged drills just to try and feel themselves over the mound. But hitters will do it too. Edwin Encarnacion was a great one.
Yeah.
He would sit and he would rock in the batter's box, just really trying to feel that back foot locked in, loading up that back hip, and trying to hold a lot of energy there until you're ready to swing.
The other comparison is a little bit like Montgomery from the White Sox we saw. They sent him back, Royce, to AAA. And he started using what you're just talking about there, Cody. Because of lower leg injuries early in his career, it beat his legs up so much, he was always on his front leg and using all arms.
Yeah, well, I think what happens too is some guys, when you stand in the box or you stand on your feet in very stationary position over time, is you can end up leaning out and getting over your toes, right? And so you don't have your feet fully planted into the ground. And so I think what a lot of these guys do, it almost looks like they have happy feet a little bit. They're just resetting. They're resetting their base and they're getting ready to, try and explode on a baseball.
Joey Cantillo looked like he was about to cruise through this first inning. He had back-to-back strikeouts, but a single by Josh Bell and the dreaded two-out walk to Royce Lewis, extending the inning now for Victor Caratini.
Yeah, it's just getting strike one. He got strike one to the first two guys, and then obviously gave him a first pitch hit to Josh Bell, and then he's throwing ball one and ball one to each of the following two hitters.
I know you're a reliever, but Rick Manning always talks about when you get a starting pitcher in the stretch early, How that can kind of mess up their tempo a little bit. Do you think that's what happened after that one pitch hit?
Well, I think when you're in the windup, it's just a lot easier because there's no pressure. There's nobody on base. You know, so when you can apply pressure as often as possible, you know, you're eventually going to get them to make a mistake, and mistakes are magnified when you have guys on first and second.
And that pitch is low.
That was a pretty good take right there. That was a really good pitch. I think he put that almost exactly where he wanted to. Yeah.
This is what's been fascinating about Cantillo, how good he has been when his back is literally against the wall.
He doesn't give in. That's one thing about him. You know, talk about the walks all you want. You know, I think his last start he had, what, 5 walks, and he only gave up 2 runs. You know, so I think that's kind of a give and take for him, where he's just not going to give in. You know, he's not going to just center cut a fastball to avoid walking a guy. He's going to go after you with his best stuff, even if he's behind in the count, and walks are probably a byproduct of that.
Victor Caratini with a 3-2 count. The runners will move on the payoff pitch. Swing and a miss. He did not give in. He stayed with his bread and butter, went to the changeup, gets the strikeout. 3 in the inning, and the Twins strand 2. No score after 1 in Minnesota.
Taking care of our own.
Guardians TV is presented by Progressive. Target Field, downtown Minneapolis. Home of the Twins, no score, second inning. Kyle Manzardo leads off, and he takes a first pitch strike from Taj Bradley. Fastball misses outside 2-1. Kyle Manzardo.
Man, look how they're playing him. That is a big hole they are giving him between left and center field.
Yeah, it's almost like an old-fashioned shift. Swing and a miss. 2-2.
There's that cutter, slider, whatever you want to call it. That thing, I mean, it's been an extremely effective pitch for him this year.
That was a good example right there, though. You could see the depth. You could see that ball go straight down.
Yeah. That you know, normal cutter is going to beat a guy by chasing his knuckles, right?
Mm-hmm.
That one just got below the barrel.
And now a challenge by Victor Caratini.
Pitcher's challenge and call the ball.
He thought that should have been strike 3. And it is.
Call is confirmed. 2 challenges left.
So each team has utilized the ABS to its advantage for a strikeout.
Yeah, that's just a backed up cutter right there. You know, sometimes it's the best pitch in baseball. You know, Manzo saw it out of the hand, it kind of tailing away from him, and it just had a little bit of teeth right there at the very end to catch the top of the zone.
Rhys Hoskins, the DH. That ball's barreled up deep center field. Fedko back on the track at the wall. It is gone. A home run. Rhys Hoskins to the big part of the park, giving the Guardians a 1-0 lead. Socking it into the Guardians bullpen. Home run number 8 on the year for Rhys.
Man, we talked about early, you know, you got to beat him on the fastball, right? That cutter and that splitter are just so effective. Granted, he's got 98, 99 in his pocket, but when you get a chance and you're up in the count, you're in a fastball count, if you can get one out over plate to hit, let it rip.
Brian Rocchio goes after the first pitch and a roller to second base. 2 down. This ball was scalded.
Yeah, I mean, this is a fastball at the bottom of the zone at 98. And I mean, obviously he was looking for one thing. The one thing Rhys does such a good job against guys that have this kind of stuff is he stays in the middle of the field. It's a really simple approach, and I feel like for him, you know, that pitch right there, I mean, he got every bit of that. I mean, just went down and got it.
I've always loved the fact that the beauty of baseball is there are so many different ways to be successful. You know, if everybody tried to swing like Jose Ramirez, they couldn't do it, right?
No.
It works for Jose.
Yep.
And then you look at Reese, sometimes it looks like he only swings about maybe 3/4 of the way through.
Yeah.
But he's so short to the baseball, and that's where all the power comes from.
Yeah, he's a big, strong guy, and he really uses his base well, right? And in order to do that, he just can't have a whole lot of movement up top.
Daniel Schneemann with 2 down. Sitting pretty here, 3-1.
You know, this is a count right here. I would not look for Taj to just groove a fastball right here, 3-1 with 2 outs. Like, he's been going to that cutter and that splitter a lot.
There it was.
Yeah, it's just you can tell right now with his approach with this Cleveland team. That's about as good of a 3-1 pitch as you can make.
And then he backs it up at the top of the zone to get the strikeout. So Bradley recovers, but not before Rhys Hoskins drives one out of here. And the Guardians lead it 1-0 midway through the second. Bottom of the second inning, 1-0 Cleveland. And Cody Clemens will lead off for the Twins. Fouls the first pitch right back almost to us. A little too tall.
I wasn't even paying attention. I'm looking down at my notes. That could have caught me right between the eyes.
Come on, Cody.
I'm here for you.
I was literally
Matty
about to
had
drop
you.
some knowledge about Cody Clemens here.
I'll dive.
And there's a lot to tell about Cody, so go for it.
No, I mean, this guy has had to turn himself into a heck of a big leaguer. But the one thing I was going to say is this matchup is very interesting because he's a really good off-speed hitter. He can handle breaking balls. He can handle changeups. Guys have beaten him a lot with fastballs. Now you got Joey on the mound who he beats everybody with curveballs and changeups. So it'll be really interesting to see what wins out here.
The 0-2 slowed it down. Clemens a bouncer in between the wickets of Travis Bazzana. And Clemens is aboard on the air. Don't know if when that ball took the hop, it sped up on him. I mean, he was in perfect position. Looked like he did everything right. Maybe a little bit off to the side.
He just pulled up a little bit on it. I think he just misread the hop there. It might have skipped on him just a little bit, but it's one I'm sure he would like to have back.
Down and in, ball 1 to Ryan Kreidler. Kreidler's only played 1 game against Cleveland. That was when he was with Detroit.
Yeah, this is another guy. Interesting, you know, he's in the lineup today against a lefty, but big reverse splits guy. He really, really struggles against left-handed pitching. Likes hitting right-handers. So,
tops it. Rocchio charging. Tried to get it to Bazzana instead of taking the sure out at first, and it backfires. And now the Twins are set up with 2 on and nobody out.
yeah, that's not the way you want to start the inning. You get 2 weak ground balls, and you got first and second. But I think, you know, that's trying to do a lot. You know, it's one of those plays that I think halfway through that throw as he turned, he kind of was changing his mind, and it was a little bit too late right there.
It scored a straight fielder's choice. Goes down on the book as a mental mistake.
Yeah, you know, and then you got this guy in Keishel. You know, you know, you're always kind of, you know, 1 pitch away, right? Get a double play, but this guy can run a little bit. So if you're going to turn it, it's got to be quick.
One ball, 1 strike. Luke Keishel. He's 4th on the Twins with 73 hits. He's had 16 multi-hit efforts on the year. We ain't gonna miss. It's 1-2.
He's really swung the bat well with runners in scoring position right there. 338. Obviously, all the RBIs come because there's runners in scoring position, but 338 on the year, runners in score position. That shows a guy that's probably got the ability to cut his swing down a little bit.
Goes the other way, Manzardo. Oh, another defensive miscue, and now the Twins have the bases loaded with nobody out. Wow. This inning has gone from bad to worse.
Yeah, you've got 3 balls that haven't left the infield. You got bases loaded, so they've got their work cut out for him right here. I'm not sure what Manzo saw. I don't know if Roki was getting to the bag or what. You know, I don't know if he maybe thought he was going to catch the runner in the shoulder there, but last 2 plays are just kind of like indifference, right? Like not sure what you want to do with the ball. You know, it seemed like Rocchio wanted to go to second, then looked at second, and then Manzo wanted to go to second, then wanted to go back to first. So I think right here you just got to play it like, hey, let's just get 1 out. Once you get the first one, you can go from there.
Well, that just feels like an embarrassing scoring decision to give a guy a hit on a play like that. But that's the ruling. They're loaded, nobody out. Kyler Fedko looking for his first major league hit. And takes ball 1 outside.
You know, a few days ago, we were talking to Stephen Vogt about just having a young team and the ups and downs of so many young players on his team. And he said it really well, Matt. You were there. He said that's part of playing young guys. There's going to be moments and times where you turn a little bit more gray.
Popped up. Foul ground. Is it playable? Manzardo drifting back and almost colliding with Fasana. And what's the call? The call is no play, and everybody will have to retreat. He did not make the catch, and so the bases are still loaded, and Fedko will still be at the plate. This has been a display of how not to play defense.
Man, there have been some funny looking plays this inning so far, but yeah, like you said earlier, you know, you're always 1 pitch away, right? You know, you had some balls that kind of just were in between. You got some speed on the base pass, and you know, one thing about it is these guys run, and when you can run, you put pressure on our defense, you force them to make plays. But right now, you're just hoping to get the first one.
Joey Cantillo is confused about, I think, the count. He may have just lost track, thinking that he was ahead in the count, but it is even at 1-1. There's been so much going on that has been utterly beyond his control in this inning. I mean, by all rights, he should be in the dugout right now.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely.
Swing and a miss. And the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I mean, he's throwing the ball extremely well right now. I mean, he's getting soft contact. He's throwing strikes. He's giving you what you hope, right? He's got his good stuff today. And, you know, he's got this guy 1-2, right? You know, and we showed his stats last inning, but, you know, runners in scoring position, he doesn't give in, right? He's got the ability to kind of bow his back right here and work his way out of it, because he really just does not give in, even when, you know, bases loaded, nobody out. So you're still going to get his best stuff.
And the 1-2 pitch is swung out and missed. Exactly what he needed. A strikeout for the first out of the inning. His 4th already on the night.
I mean, look at this curve. Look at the spin right there. That's the one of the things about his curveball that makes it elite is it's what you would call spin orientation, and it looks identical to his fastball coming out of his hand. It's just that 4-seam spin, tumbling top over bottom, right after that 4-seam fastball going the other direction.
Austin Martin looks at ball 1. Struck out swinging his first time up, and it happened quickly. He had 5 hits and 10 at-bats against Cleveland in their earlier matchup this year. Swings through the curveball, 1-1 the count.
It looked like he was looking for it right there. You know, I mean, he took a better swing on it right there, but just the teeth on that curveball, it just gives you a little bit more break right at the very end, and just got below the barrel right there.
Tried to entice him to swing at it again, but he held up. It's 2-1.
Yeah, after a take like that, you know, he's seen quite a few curveballs his first 2 at-bats. So he's seen it a few times, right? He knows where it needs to start for it to be a strike. So, you know, I might go to a changeup or even a fastball right here.
High fly ball. left field. Quan calling for it. Tagging up at third is Clemens. The throw goes to Rocchio, and the Twins have tied the game. 2 down.
I think he had the right pitch, change up, but it was just a little bit elevated, something that he could get it up in the air. That ball's at the bottom of the zone. You might get a ground ball and you're out of this inning. But I mean, all in all, he's throwing the ball extremely well. I mean, that's the first ball that's left the inning. Yeah, right there, 82, top of the zone. Martin had seen a lot of soft, spin on a good curveball right there. You got to imagine that him and Bailey and Cantillo were on the same page right there. They went change up, just, wrong spot.
Ground ball up the middle, and it gets through. Kreidler will score the go-ahead run. All the way to third goes Keyshaw. 2-1 Minnesota. The backbreaker with 2 outs.
That's a tough one. Well, we talked earlier, Brooks Lee, he's turned himself into one of the better switch hitters and, better hitters in the American League, and that's because he can hit fastballs, right? He got a first pitch fastball, didn't miss it, hit it on the ground, just hit it hard in the right spot.
Josh Bell stroked a single to the right side of the infield his first time up. Takes ball 1 down low.
And Matt, Cody, this is a situation that Josh Bell has thrived in this year with 2 outs in RBI situations.
Now back. Hyundai in the driver's seat to Andres Boyd. Josh Bell, a .347 batting average with runners in scoring position.
33 hits.
I think he's swinging a pretty hot bat to start this month off here pretty early. I know they went and put some big numbers up in New York.
Yes, they did. And they usually play terrible in New York, Cody.
This is one of those spots right here. You've worked hard the entire inning. You've gotten soft contact, got a lot of soft contact. But you're 1 pitch away. It's 3-1. You can't give in here, right? You got to give them your best stuff. You can't just try and get a strike to get back in the count here. You got to throw your best stuff here.
And Bell fouls it off. The changeup, full count.
That was a really good pitch. 3-1 changeup. He's probably ready for your best bullet right there. Gets a changeup down. He's got to be geared up for 94, 95. It's something that he can roll over to the left side.
So the bases are loaded once again. Second walk issued by Cantillo. And Carl Willis is going to go out because he is probably getting to the point where he might be gassed.
Yeah, right now, there's nothing to say. He's throwing the ball well. Like he got, like you said earlier, he had 3 balls that didn't leave the infield and you had bases loaded, nobody out. So he's out there to give him a breather, give him a little maybe refresher on Lewis coming into this at bat, because now you got bases loaded. You got nowhere to put him, right? You worked this hard to get these 2 outs. Let's try and get out of this inning. You got to get strike 1, but it can't just be a cookie. We got to get strike 1 with something really effective. You got to throw probably, your best pitch right. These situations are almost like when a reliever comes in, you almost want to attack it like the account's 1-1. You don't want to think if you can get strike 1, that's almost like getting the guy with 2 strikes, because you can put him on the defensive because he's got bases loaded. He's trying to do a job, but if you get 1-0 in a bases loaded jam like this, it can be really detrimental.
He went to an off-speed pitch and missed for ball 1. So now Royce Lewis can be, as you said, he can be more selective now.
Very selective, So, this is a spot right here where you got to get a strike.
He went with the curveball and drops it in to even the count.
That's a big pitch, because when you're behind in the count and you got nowhere to put him, the plate shrinks. It not only shrinks for the hitter, but it shrinks for you. And, that's where a really good hitter can kind of just, it's what you call keyhole. they can kind of look for one pitch in one spot, and if they don't get it, they'll take it. But if they get it, they're ready to do some damage.
Speaking of damage, those are pretty impressive numbers with the bases loaded. Cantillo's 2-1. Popped it up. Rocchio at short makes the catch. It could have been worse. The Twins turn a trio of defensive miscues into 2 runs and take the lead. The Guardians are back home after the All-Star break Friday, July 17th. Sugardale, Dollar Dogs, $2 Coors Light pregame and a postgame Phantom Fireworks show, plus hits from the band OAR. Get your tickets at CLEGuardians.com. Fireworks show presented by PNC. Taj Bradley working with a 2-1 lead here. Inning number 3, Patrick Bailey leads off for Cleveland. And a fastball strike is in there. Bailey has hit .295 over his last 16 games.
There's that slider, cutter, whatever you want to call it, it's good. And right off the back of, he just painted a 96, 97 mile an hour fastball at the bottom of the zone, so you can't just give up on it.
Patrick Bailey has been a different hitter since coming to Cleveland, and it's really starting to show here over the last couple of weeks. He waves at one on the outside corner. He was trying to protect a perfect pitch. 5th strikeout for Bradley. StatCast 3D powered by Google Cloud.
Yeah, here's the fastball splitter combo that you see a lot to left-handers, right? You know, we talked a lot about that cutter slider that he uses, but the left-handers, they've really got to cover that split down in the zone. And when you got, 96, 98, just coming in hot. Because he does have that very slow, deliberate delivery, and then it's on top of you with really good carry, and then out of the hand with that split, just going the other way. It's a tough combination to try and cover. Like that pitch right there at the bottom of the zone. He's throwing that. That pitch is effective because hitters are standing in the box thinking you can't chase the splitter below the zone. You know, you talk about tunneling, and you know his stuff tunnels well when he's throwing the fastball down. Right, if you can get him to bring the fastball up, if you can take those balls down, and he's got to bring the fastball up, it's a lot more recognizable and you can do some damage.
That was a little too tall.
Yep.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
And the one thing about a splitter too is that splitter, it's really, really effective when it gets to the bottom or below the zone. But when it stays up a little bit, hitters love it.
Well, trying to go the other way, but off the line, Brooks Lee was positioned perfectly in the hole to take care of it. 2 down. Let's get a word here from Cleveland Clinic.
When you make complexities your specialties, you redefine what's possible. For every care in the world, Cleveland Clinic.
First time through the order, Taj Bradley was almost perfect. But Rhys Hoskins turned around a fastball and sent it out of here for a home run.
Yeah, he's got good stuff tonight. You know, Rhys, caught one down and put it out of here, but outside of that, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 punch outs first time through the lineup.
Bazzana fouls one off to the left. Travis has hit .291 against right-handed pitching. Slow chopper up the line. Bradley off the mound takes it himself. Guardians go in order. go to the bottom of the third. 2-1 Twins. Cleveland Guardians baseball brought to you by Levin Furniture and Mattress. Lazy Boy recliners starting at $395 at Levin. And by your local Kia dealers. Visit kia.com to discover movement that inspires. Target Field, Minneapolis. Twins on top 2-1. Bottom of the third. And Victor Caratini will lead it off for the Twins. Cantillo barely had time to catch his breath, and he's right back out there. It's probably not the immediate impact, but the cumulative effect when you're up and down that quickly for a starting pitcher, huh? When you have a long inning and you go sit down and boom, you're right back out there.
It can definitely be a challenge. You know, these guys, they throw a lot of pitches, and those are a lot of stressful pitches. That's probably more than anything. It isn't just the number of pitches, but it's the amount of stressful pitches with guys on base. And, you know, you go back in, you're probably sitting down with your catcher, you're talking about, you know, maybe bouncing back, what you want to do moving forward, and then bam, you're right back out there. So you're hoping for a clean, quick inning right here, and then the Guardians bats can go work Bradley a little bit to give him a breather.
Caratini turned away, close pitch, called a ball, 1-1. Caratini batting .322 over his last 26 ball games. And a smash to short. It ate up Rocchio. So a base hit starts the Twins half of the third, and everything going their way early.
Yeah, he's another Twins hitter that's been swinging a hot bat as of late, especially to start this month off, and got a pitch up in the zone. Crushed it. Roque got caught on his heels right there, trying to make that's a tough play. That ball's got some top spin on it. You're not sure. That's one of those ones where it's like, do I come in and try and get it, or do I catch it on a short hop? I think that's the right play with Caratini running. Just try and get back on it, catch it on a short hop, and make the throw over first. But he hit that ball a little too hard.
Back to the plate, Cody Clemens. You were making the point when he was up leading off last inning. He's become one of the more steady and consistent offensive performers for Derek Shelton this year.
Yeah, I mean, every day this guy is able to get penciled into the lineup, whether it's playing second, playing first, playing third, playing outfield. You know, he can do a lot of things for you, and he just puts together really, really professional at bats, whether it be right-hander or left-hander. You know, the one thing he does extremely well is he handles breaking balls, and he handles off-speed well, and that he can cut his swing down, and, you know, when guys try to gear up on him.
Amazing thing that I find about him is with Philadelphia last year, if you guys remember, and he came over here because he couldn't get any playing time with Philadelphia because they pretty much run out the same 9 guys every day.
Yeah, I think the same thing happened with he was in Detroit too, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just needed it somewhere he could get some at bats.
I mean, we've seen that though, right? Haven't we?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
we've seen, you know, guys go to different spots, you know, whether it be leaving one organization to another. Sometimes they just need the right home and the right amount of reps to kind of bring out their ability, and, you know, they can blossom into pretty good players.
You think his dad taught him how to get knocked down?
I don't think his dad knows anything. Yeah, now of course he did. You know, I think his dad's got about 2.5 decades worth of experience to share with him.
Probably went up and in on him when he threw him batting practice too.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. I'll teach you one thing, son: how to duck. He goes down swinging here. First out of the inning, 5th strikeout for Cantillo. This was a good location of the fastball.
And I think that's how you got to attack a guy like that. He is such a good breaking ball and a good off-speed hitter. Is you got to get him behind in the count, and if you can throw that fastball at the top of the zone where it's close enough where he's got to try and cover it, you got a good shot at getting a swing and a miss.
Ryan Kreidler swings at the first pitch, and that one goes off the heel of the glove of Daniel Schneemann. And the Twins will be at second and third with 1 out here in inning number 3. And no matter what the Twins hit, the Guardians can't seem to catch it tonight.
That one was hit hard though as well, like the Caratini one.
Second hit of the inning. Both balls hit hard. Both balls hit off Guardians defenders.
I mean, I know those balls are hit hard, but I think if you ask those guys, I think they would definitely like to have those ones back. Those are plays that we normally see those guys make.
Luke Keyshaw with the infield in. Slashes it foul the other way.
I would look for Keishel here. He is trying to do one thing. He is trying to hit a ball in the air on a line to the right side. You know, you got the infield in right here. You know, his approach, he has really good splits against righties. That tells me he uses the big part of the field. So I would try to combat that, you know, really trying to blow him up inside and, yep, using that pitch right there.
Bailey pounces. Close play at first. Got him by a whisker. And a really good athletic play by Patrick Bailey because he had to get out quick and turn all the way around and launch a perfect throw to get him.
He didn't rush the throw. You know what I mean? Like he got his steps in and got a good throw.
And look at Joey. Somebody's got to cover home plate, right? If he doesn't bust it to get there, that still scores a run.
So 2 down. Kyler Fedko at the plate. Takes the ball down low. Fedko played at UConn. You know, as he was rising through the ranks, he was a guy that, you know, kind of prided himself on being a contact hitter, hit for average. And the Twins went to him and said, look, if you're going to be a corner outfielder, tonight he's in center. But if you're going to be a corner outfielder, we need you to show us you can hit for power. And we need to see that slugging percentage go up. So he kind of redid his entire swing, his entire approach. And, you know, last year he hit 28 home runs in the minor leagues.
Yeah, and sometimes, you know, organizations will try to do that with hitters just to try and see, you know, if they've got more that they can offer, right? You might have a guy who's just a contact guy, and they're not trying to tell this guy, hey, we need you to be somebody completely different. But sometimes it's like, hey, we want you to try and do something different because you might have more in the tank. You just don't even realize it.
It takes a lot of talent, though, to be able to go from that type of hitter and still get up here to the big leagues, Cody. You know what I mean? Because I know there's a couple guys they've tried that with in different organizations, and it ends up ruining them.
Oh, absolutely. When you have a guy change his approach.
In the air, right center. Khalil Watson galloping over, and the center fielder makes the play. And Cantillo wriggles off the hook. He did another fine job working around some traffic here in the third. It's still 2-1 Twins.
Pressure, it's got to be Tide.
Margaritaville Day at Progressive Field coming up on Saturday, July 18th. Following the All-Star break, Guards host the Buccos at 4:10. Come down early for music, parrot photo ops, and island vibes. Get your tickets at CLEGuardians.com. You a parrot head? You a Buffett guy?
Buffett guy? I think he's a little before my time. A little before my time.
Thank you for making the old guy feel old. Khalil Watson will lead off for Cleveland here, 4th inning. 2-1 Twins. Taj Bradley looking sharp in the early going. He has struck out 5, hasn't walked a batter. The only hit allowed left the park off the bat of Rhys Hoskins for Cleveland in the second.
.38 pitches in. I mean, this is where, you know, second time through the lineup, you got to start making him work a little bit. Attaboy. You know, I mean, some of these guys, he's having quick at bats, right? You know, he's only 39 pitches in, so these guys haven't gotten to see a ton of his stuff. But what you have seen, you got to go up there and you can't chase below. And when you get a fastball, kind of like Rhys did, and you know, if you get something kind of above the knees, you got to let it fly, because that's where you got to beat this guy. You got to beat him, you know, middle to top of the zone.
And that fastball missed off the plate. Good take. 2 balls in, 2 strikes.
The other part of that, Cody, that you're talking about, and Stephen Vogt talks about time of possession. Joey Cantillo just came off the field. He came down into the dugout. And he's dripping wet. He needs a timeout, to say the least.
Yeah. You know, I mean, what Khalil's doing right here is he's making him work. He's just worked him full, right? And even, you know, obviously he's trying to get on base right here, but if you can do this over and over and over again, you can wear a guy down where you can eventually get him in the 5th, 6th, or 7th inning.
Hit hard, but foul.
Left it up.
That's what you do when you get the one you like. Hit it hard.
And even, you know, we say that was up. That wasn't a bad pitch, right? That ball was in off the plate chasing his belt. but it was just up enough where he could recognize spin, get a barrel to it, and just fight it off.
And he swings through it. Foul tip into the mitt of Caratini. 6 strikeouts for Bradley. 1 down here in the 4th. Before the game, we were talking with Guardians manager Stephen Vogt, and I asked him if he had any thoughts or any belief in the old notion of the letdown syndrome effect. You know, you come off a big series against the White Sox, 7 games in 10 days. Every game was close. Every game was a nail biter. And he felt like, we had the off day yesterday. I feel like that was a good reset. Everybody's fresh coming in here. But then, Cody, when you watch the Guardians play early in the game, especially defensively, as DeLauder smokes the ball to center field, Fedko will cut it off and hold him to a 1-out single. You do kind of do you believe in that? Did you ever get the sense that there were times during a season where, for whatever reason, the team just came out flat following a big series?
I don't think flat is probably the best word. I think sometimes it's just a long season, right? Like you kind of get burnt out a little bit, especially when you're relying on the same guys day in and day out. And these guys, man, they answer the bell every day. They got to suit up, and they're playing every day. So some of these guys who play mainly against right-handers. Sorry, I couldn't get that out. Mainly against right-handers. When you get a big string of right-handers, in big games like that, these guys are playing a lot more often than maybe they normally do, right? So I think more than just being flat is just the fact that you add in travel, you add in you're in the dog days of July, you add in, those big games can just take it out of you. It's just sometimes it's just fatigue.
Yeah, it's a real, and also not a day off sometimes hurts guys. No, it's weird to say that, but I've had guys say you get out of your rhythm. When you
hated days off.
Yeah, when you get 10, 11 days and you played in a row, that one day off, we all know you try to do a million things in that one day.
Yeah, I hated days off. Honestly, the only times you love days off are when you weren't playing well.
Right.
And that surprises me, because I would think if anybody would cherish and relish a day off, it would be a bullpen guy.
Yeah,
I hated it. I absolutely hated it. Brian Shaw was the same way. He did not like days off. I felt like I was sharper the more that I just was kind of in a rhythm. The more I threw, I felt like I was crisp. I think those days off obviously helped me into September and October. But in the moment that day, like if I came back, when I came back from the All-Star break, I felt like I had to relearn how to pitch.
Going back to spring training and starting over.
Seriously, it was like riding a bike.
Here's the 1-2 to Kyle Manzardo, and he swings over the top. That pitch is nasty. Again, it's as Cody calls it, the depth of this pitch. On the way in, it looks like it could be something you can hit, and watch the bottom just fall out of it.
Yeah, and another thing that makes it so good too is you get this, watch, his fingers are on top of that ball, right? There is no hop in that pitch. So even if you can't see spin, the hitter only sees that thing coming out just like a fastball. Ones like that, the ones that kind of pop out, those are the ones that you're going to see early. And those are the ones that you can do damage on because you recognize the pitch early, you can stay back, stay in the middle of the field, you do some damage with it. But when he throws it at the bottom of the zone like that, it does not expose itself until 58 feet.
Rhys Hoskins, who homered off Bradley in the 2nd inning, is now in a 2-0 count with Chase DeLauder down at first. 2 down in the 4th inning. Here's our Chevy drive of the game back in the 2nd inning. It's a low fastball and a high fly ball that leaves the yard.
Man, he went down and got that. 98, bottom of the zone. That's a good piece of hit right there.
Did you pitch any differently after guys just clipped you?
Well, he hasn't seen a fastball yet.
This
at bat. He got one right there, though.
Right side of the infield, Cody Clemens, the 2nd baseman, gathers it in. Midway through the 4th, it's the Twins 2 and the Guardians 1. Joey Cantillo back out here now for the bottom of the 4th inning. And he will be facing the top of the order. Austin Martin struck out in the 1st inning, knocked in a run with a sacrifice fly in the 2nd. Crooked curveball from Joey Cantillo evens the count. 1 ball, 1 strike. Martin, no stranger to the leadoff spot. This is the 19th game this season that he has batted leadoff. That fastball really took off on him, and it's 2-1. Anybody that watches the Twins regularly or follows Minnesota knows that their normal leadoff hitter is Byron Buxton. Buxton has been plagued throughout his career by injuries. And the injury bug has bit him once again. It's almost an annual right. You just wait. When is Buxton going on the injured list this year?
And it really is a shame, man, because when he is on the field, he can change a game, man. He is a really good player. You know, and I know this Twins team, you know, they want to get him healthy for the long run, man, but it hurts every night when he's not out there.
Yeah, he is so talented. Early in his career, Gold Glove center fielder, could run down anything hit in the area code of Minneapolis. And, you know, when you talk about the power, he's 25 home runs, hitting .270 on the season. So however long he's out of the lineup, it's going to be impactful for Minnesota. Leadoff walk. And here's the injury report brought to you by the injury attorneys at Elkanel. It's a hip injury this time. He injured it, and then I think he missed a game or two, and then he re-aggravated it on this play over the weekend in New York. And it wasn't until we arrived here at the ballpark that they finally made the decision today to officially put him on the injured list for the 19th time in his career.
The thing Derek Shelton told me, though, that bothers him more than anything else, he said, forget the numbers. Because in talking to the players, they feel like this is the most fun he's ever had as a Minnesota Twin. He said, you know, between Josh Bell coming in and just how they're playing, he said this is the happiest he's ever seen Buxton. And Buxton has let them know, I don't want to be traded. I want to be a Minnesota Twin. And that's where they're at right now. And he said, so, yeah, we're going to get him down so the All-Star break will help us, and hopefully he comes back and can play the whole second half. I think he leads in leadoff homers. He's a big first-pitch home run guy. He's made their offense just deadly from the first pitch of the game when he's leading off.
0-2 pitch, swung on and missed. Brooks Lee strikes out. That's 6 Ks for Cantillo. 1 down here in the 4th.
Yeah, I mean, this is the bread and butter right here. I mean, I think Brooks Lee knew this was coming, and he still didn't have much of a shot here. I mean, he just that curveball right there, if he can get ahead of guys, especially the right-handers, and he can throw that thing in the bottom of the zone, it's really, really hard to drop a barrel on that thing. You know, Andre, back to Bucks, you know, he's just a guy, you know, you talk about his ability to be such a table setter at the top, because he is really, really dangerous. Like, he can take you out at any second.
Runner goes, throw down by Bailey is a good one. On time, on the money. And Austin Martin is erased. Caught for the 6th time trying to steal this year. He has 9 successful attempts, but now thrown out for the 6th time, and this was a thing of beauty by Bailey.
I mean, and he's the best in baseball at this. I mean, see how quick that got out and just on the bag.
Cody, he can throw it from different arm angles. It's like a shortstop. You know, he can throw it from the side over top. It's amazing.
That ball is out before he's even close to standing out. There's a gold patch on his glove for a reason.
That's what the guys tell me.
Two-1, he missed all 3.
Big cut. I don't think he was trying to go right center right there. I think he was trying to put one on the top of the bullpen right there, but we'll take it. 3-2, 1 pitch away at getting out of a, you know, fairly clean inning here.
Yeah, I'm not saying you ever want to just throw in down the middle, because we all know that's a no-no. But there are times where you have to think to yourself, look, just think about the odds of everything that happened in baseball. I've just got to throw it over the plate at some point because hopefully he'll at least hit it at somebody.
You know what? That's a really good point. You know, I used to think about that all the time late in the game. You know, the worst thing that could hurt a guy, especially, like, I mean, Joey's in a different spot. He's trying to manage the game. You know, solo homers, you know, throughout the game, they can add up at the end of the game, right? But if I'm coming in and I got a 3-run lead, and let's just say a 280 hitter's up there, that means, you know, he's getting out more than 7 out of 10 times, and I like my chances better than most. So if I just throw him a strike, chances are 75% of the time he's gonna hit at somebody.
They can swing it. Bell pops up, and a good inning of work for Joey Cantillo. We move to the 5th inning. Brian Rocchio will lead it off. We'll see if he can light a fire when we come back.
Purchases when you activate.
Top half of the 5th inning brought to you by your Northeast Ohio Jeep dealers. Cleveland trailing it 2-1. Joey Cantillo for the Guardians has done a remarkable job of just keeping them in the game, giving his team a chance. That's all you ever ask of your starter. He worked around a defensive collapse in the 2nd inning. Twins were able to get 2 runs, but that's all they've been able to manage thus far. The problem for the Guardians has been Taj Bradley. He has been razor sharp, striking out 7, giving up just 2 hits, hasn't walked the batter. It's not to say they haven't had some good swings and some good at-bats at times. Khalil Watson ran the count full, tried to get Bradley to start the 4th inning, but it ended in a strikeout.
You know, you hear good hitters, they'll talk sometimes about their approach off a pitcher, right? Their goal is to fight off pitcher's pitches, right? And then you just want to capitalize on a mistake. Well, the one thing about Taj tonight is he's just not throwing a whole lot of mistakes, right? And these guys are grinding, fighting off some tough pitches, hopefully trying to get that, you know, splitter up or that fastball out over the plate. And he just really hasn't given it to him.
The 3-2 pitch. I would imagine hitters go through the same thing that you go through as a pitcher. Obviously different positions, but there are times where you go out there and you don't have anything.
Yeah.
You know, your fastball's not going where it's supposed to. Curveball doesn't seem to have the bite to it, and you're just trying to survive. And I would imagine that hitters on nights like this, when you're facing a guy like Bradley, who's pinpoint with his command, he's got tremendous gifts, talent. And so as the hitters, you're just trying to survive. And as you said, Cody, hoping for that one mistake that you get and don't miss.
Yeah, I mean, you know, listen, I've got one big league at bat, and it did not go well, right? So I am not speaking from a point of experience, but as a hitter and as a pitcher, sometimes you go out there and you're just surviving, right? You're just trying to grind out a walk. You're trying to grind out like, hey, I can move a guy over. Just trying to have a positive at bat. That doesn't necessarily have to be a double in the gap.
Is it your experience over the years that when a guy's really dealing, it gets real quiet in the dugout? There's not a lot of chatter, not a lot of talk.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't spend a ton of time in the dugout, but when somebody's mowing, it does feel like, you know, when you go into the clubhouse or you walk through the dugout, it's just guys are internally, they're trying to figure out what the heck are we going to do today.
2 down.
But I mean, we say all that, you know. Taj Bradley's got 2 outs here in the 5th inning. He's thrown 63 pitches. It's a 2-1 ball game, right?
Well, what's the conversations in the bullpen? Because you guys are watching the game. You're watching. If somebody's really dialed in, are you guys to yourselves going, "Whew, this guy's"?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. You're thinking to yourself, you know, hey, you know, everything matters here, right? You know, every little, you know, Joey may not get a ton of leash here because runs are going to be at a premium tonight. So you guys are getting ready, you know, so you can already see guys moving around down there because even though Joey's at 75 pitches, he might be out of the game two batters into the next inning to play a matchup, whatever it is. But you just put more of an emphasis on each base runner, not just run, but each base runner or scoring opportunity becomes so much more magnified when you're facing a guy that's throwing as well as Taj Bradley is tonight.
And yet, as well as he is throwing it, he is that one mistake, one hanger away from Cleveland tying this game up.
100%.
That's what's crazy.
You know, and if you take away the second inning defensively for us, Joey, I mean, they're on their broadcast, they're talking the same thing about Joey Cantillo tonight.
No doubt. Well, all our hitters right now, they're all in iPads. And everybody that's not playing is saying, man, that looks tough.
Yeah.
And the iPads, and I've come to respect it a little bit more, Cody. At first, it was, why are all these guys doing this? But now, they slow them down on that iPad to try to pick up the spin, to try to pick up the arm angle, to try to pick up any little thing so they can figure out what pitch is coming and when it's coming.
Yeah. I mean, you can try and pick up anything you want. You know, hitting a baseball is hard, but, you know, if you can pick up a little tip or something that he's doing or some kind of sequence that he's running, you know, guys get into a pattern, maybe you're trying to pick up some slight advantage, because this is a game where, you know, you can make a career out of winning in the margins. And,
Bingo.
you know, against a really, really good pitcher like this, you got to win in the margins.
I've been amazed by Jose Ramirez over the last decade, how he can pick up those little things and show them to everybody else.
Well, look, this game was, always will be about execution. If that guy in the center of the diamond executes, even the greatest hitters in the world are not going to be able to match him. It's just good pitching always has and always will beat good hitting.
Yeah, I mean, the difference in most games, you know, I'd say 99% of games is essentially who capitalized on mistakes and who didn't.
And Minnesota did, and thus they have the lead. 2-2. Bailey goes down Hackett. That's 8 strikeouts for Taj Bradley. He retires the side in order for the 3rd time in 5 innings. If you want seats in a prime location overlooking the first baseline, access to climate-controlled indoor lounges, inclusive food and non-alcoholic beverages, you want the Discount Drug Mart Champions Club, and you can get those tickets at CLEGuardians.com. That poor guy right there in the Guardians jersey, the red one, they did one of those in-between innings scoreboard look-alike deals. They said he looked like Jackson Dart, the quarterback.
It could have been way worse.
You see it?
It could have been worse.
Andre, do you see it?
The hair maybe, but it could have been worse, boys. If you saw the other ones, I'll take Jackson Dart over some of the others. They had
could have said he looked like Andre Knott.
I don't want that for him. I want the kid to have some enjoyable life.
No balls, 2 strikes to count on Royce Lewis here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Royce Lewis walked in the first, popped up on the infield to end the 2nd. And Lewis goes down Hackett. That's 7 strikeouts for Joey Cantillo.
Joey Cantillo's had some really, really good stuff tonight. You know, it's 2-1 game, but I mean, look at that changeup down and away, dotted down and away, fastball at the bottom at 95, fastball in the outside corner 94. He's had it all right tonight. He's had excellent electric finish on his fastball, and then obviously the curveball and the changeup. They're elite. They're talked about in all clubhouses around baseball. Guys don't like hitting them, and he's got all 3 working tonight.
I think you made the best point. The guys on the other side probably saying the same stuff we're saying about Bradley, saying about him.
100%. You know, and the thing is you know, Cleveland, they've built out this organizational, you know, kind of machine that just pumps pitching out.
Nice play by Joey Cantillo to help himself.
It's always funny when you have guys go from Cleveland to another organization, and hitters are just, they always ask you, like, hey, what are they doing over there? what are y'all doing over there? What do you mean? We pitch on the same mountains you guys pitch on.
I think they want to hear, well, we have a laboratory.
Yeah.
And in that laboratory, there's a scientist.
Yep. Mixing up secret recipes.
We have guys come up, and I see Cody on podcasts, and people ask him, what did they teach you there?
Dude, I'll never forget the first day I walked into Anaheim, and those guys were like, what's going on?
And the short answer is there's no short answer.
No.
It's a very complex web of analyzation, technology, hands-on coaching, mental skills aspect. I mean, they do all of it. And
yeah, they do all of it at a very high level, and it's really good. And, you know, the one thing that this organization does extremely well is they don't try to copy anybody else. They keep it in-house. They don't care what everybody else is doing. They know what works. They believe in their methods. And then also, too, when you have pitching at the big league level that's consistently good, you can take your time with guys that are in the minor leagues. You don't have to rush anybody up because there's a hole to fill or a gap. So you can finish out the development process with all these young, talented arms.
And once you have the reputation that Carl Willis and everyone attached to the organization has when it comes to pitching, anybody new that walks through the door is all ears.
You buy in. That's a huge factor right there. Is you go to a place like Cleveland and you immediately buy in because, you know, the proof is on the field every single night.
Cantillo was asked about getting traded here.
Off the end of the bat, Cody Clemens dumps it into center field for a 2-out single.
Cantillo was asked last week about, you know, when he was traded here from San Diego, what his thought process was, and he said, I was 19 years old. I had no idea. He goes, then I talked to my dad and a few other people, and they said, that's the best place for you to go. He said they were 100% correct. He said he didn't know anything about pitching when he came over from the Padres, but they didn't rush him, and they slowed it down, and they gave him different roles, and they start telling him. I think the best was when he got here, and Carl said, your stuff is awesome. Throw it down the middle of the plate and just let it play.
2 down, Ryan Kreidler, the batter. I think there's a lot to be said too when you are developing, especially developing, but even when you get a new pitcher that's in the big leagues that comes to the organization. Carl Willis isn't a big believer of, well, here's what we think you should do. It's more of like, you tell me what do you do well, let's enhance that, let's start there, as opposed to, you're doing it all wrong, kid, let's start all over.
Yeah, you got to get them to buy in. You have to get them to buy in, and they're not going to buy in if they don't believe it.
The 1-1 pitch is swung on and missed. Franco Aliman has grabbed a baseball and has begun to loosen in the Cleveland bullpen.
It's Matt's favorite. The guy warming up without his hat on.
I thought it was because it was hot.
No,
they just didn't put the pitch column thing in yet.
It may be. It is a little humid down here.
Two down. Cody Clemens at first base. Modest lead. And a weak ground ball hit up the middle. Rocchio cuts it off. He'll go the long way to first, and the side is retired. 5 complete from the Twin Cities. Minnesota 2, Cleveland 1.
AutoZone.
Cleveland Guardians baseball is brought to you by Levin Furniture and Mattress. Lazy Boy recliners starting at $395 at Levin. Here at Target Field, it's still 2-1 Minnesota. It's been that way since the second inning. Cleveland started the scoring with a solo homer by Rhys Hoskins. And then defensive calamity occurred in the bottom of the second, and Minnesota capitalized, scoring 2 runs. Since then, the pitchers on each side have dominated. Joey Cantillo's day could be over. He's just over 90 pitches through 5 innings. Franco Aliman continues to warm in the Cleveland bullpen. We'll wait and see. But Taj Bradley, his pitch count is in pretty good shape. He's just over 70 pitches starting the 6th inning. Kwan lines it into the glove of third baseman Brooks Lee.
Yeah, he's had 2 hard balls right there, but they've had Lee playing perfectly.
Well, you kind of off the top told us what we were going to see from Taj Bradley tonight, and unfortunately you were right.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's just good stuff, right? I mean, it's really, really good stuff. He hasn't made too many mistakes. You know, he's got that really good cutter that he's leaning on tonight. And then, you know, to some of these lefties, like you saw right there, that splitter down and away, when he gets on top of it, that thing just kind of just almost looks like it just gets in the wind and just starts chasing away from that left-hand hitter. Can be really tough.
I think Taj Bradley is a great example of, when I asked Stephen Vogt before the game, you know, what has he seen in his brief time as manager that makes him glad he's not playing anymore as the game continues to evolve, right? You know, you think about when you came on, you guys were playing baseball at a higher level than the generation before you, and now these guys have taken it to the next level. And Voter said, look up there every night, and guys are throwing 98. He goes, I remember not that long ago when he was playing, and we would say in the scouting report, ooh, 94, we got to get ready for 94.
Yeah,
you
got to be on time. Yeah, get the foot down.
Now if we see 94 miles an hour, we're racing to the bat racks.
Yeah, if there's a guy throwing 94 right now, it's because he's got some ridiculous metric behind his pitch. But yeah, I mean, the raw material that's being showcased today is, I feel like it's better than it's ever been. And it's a good thing for the game, right? It helps the game grow. You know, the best athletes in the world are playing this game of baseball right now. And guys like Taj Bradley are part of that wave of next-gen talents. But so are the guys we got on our side. You know, you look at Gavin Williams, you look at Joey, you look at, you know, all of our guys, Parker Messick. And yeah, these guys, they just do things on a nightly basis that, you know, are not as rare today as they were, you know, 10 years ago.
Khalil Watson with 2 down has struck out twice tonight. And it's 1-1. Even Slade Ciccone, who goes tomorrow for the Guardians, boy, over the last several starts, he has been a different guy, and he's been dealing.
Yeah, and he's another guy. He's a real big guy, strong guy, athletic, unreal stuff. It's just trying to make adjustments as you go. And that's the one thing about this staff and maybe the game today is the guys are able to make adjustments not only with pitch selection but pitch shapes. And the way that they do these things that normally would take an off season, or they would take a DL stint or a rehab stint. These guys are able to do it from start to start. And you can't do that unless you're athletic.
And technology. I mean, yeah, they've taken advantage of the tools that are at their disposal now that weren't there 10 years ago when you were playing.
Yeah, but I mean, some of the things that these guys are doing now, you know, you might be able to show me on a screen like, hey, do this, and I'd just be like, oh, I can't.
The 2-2 fouled right back.
You know, there's a limit to what each human body can do, and these guys' limits are a little bit higher than they were maybe 10 years ago. Except for maybe a guy like Aroldis Chapman, who, wow, you know,
mold breaker,
made in the lab.
Struck him out looking. That was 100 miles an hour.
Dotted.
Unhittable. Guardians host the Pirates Sunday, July 19th at 1:40, and it's Kids Fun Day. Come down early for family-friendly activities. Kids run the bases after the game thanks to Cleveland Clinic Children's. Get your tickets at CLEGuardians.com. It's 2-1 Minnesota, and our Cleveland Clinic call to the bullpen made for Franco Aliman here in the bottom of the 6th. Aliman comes on to face Luke Keeschel, who is 1 for 2 in the ball game, and Aliman misses down low for ball 1. Aliman, a big dude at 6'7", and he gives you that little turn, shows his backside to the hitter before he comes right at him. And there's a good fastball at 97. Since getting called back up, he's appeared in 2 games, an inning in the 3rd of no-hit scoreless relief. Shatters the bat. Schneemann with the bare hand grab, but no play. The barrel ended up beyond Brian Rocchio at shortstop. I mean, just absolutely obliterated the bat.
I mean, that was... Normally when you see a bat break like that, it's like at the tape, right? He saw that thing almost off at the label.
Wow. I think, yeah, that was below the label, right? I mean,
it was right below the label. So, I mean, to break that part of the bat, Yeah, it's got to be coming in hard, and that looked like a chainsaw.
A knuckle buster for sure. Trevor Larnach will bat for Kyler Fedko. There's one more look. The bat, boom. And it ends up hitting the barrel a second time.
And it probably kept it from, you know, when it hits the barrel the second time right there, it probably killed it enough to give him a shot to get down to first base. So that just kind of sums up the day right now for the Guardians. Larnach's having a good start to the month. Really good hitter, especially against right-handed pitching. 391 batting average, runners in scoring position. He's a really, really good breaking ball hitter, but he struggles with changeups and splits. So I would imagine that they're going to stay hard and throw some changeups and split fingers.
There's a high, sky-high pop. Right field, DeLauder coming in. And makes the catch for out number 1. Well, back in the second inning, I don't know how to describe this. The first ball was a straight error. I just went right through Travis Bazzana. But then you get a ground ball to Rocchio, and he tried to go to second instead of taking the sure out at first. And then Manzardo froze, and they didn't get an out there. So now the bases are loaded with nobody out. Then a pop foul that should have been caught wasn't. And all of that resulted in Minnesota scoring 2 runs. And that's where it is, 2-1 Minnesota. Both runs unearned for Cantillo in his 5 innings of work. Joey walked 3, struck out 7. But that second inning took a lot of starch out of him on a warm, very humid night. Threw a lot of pitches. And that's why he's out after 5, because he was at 93 pitches in the game.
Yeah. I mean, he did a great job, man. He bowed his back right there. He had bases loaded, nobody out. It could have been a really, really big inning, and his night could have really been over then. But he made some big pitches, got some outs, but it definitely hurt his ability to get deep in this game.
Austin Martin knocked in one of those runs in the second inning with a sacrifice fly. Tops that foul. You know, I just saw something that I hadn't really considered, Cody, with the, with the rules to keep the game moving, keep the pace of play, pace of action increased. We got the pitch clock, all those things. It almost looked like Marvin Hudson needed a moment just to catch his breath, the home plate umpire. Again, it's warm, it's humid. And if you forget, the umpires are back there, they're working, they're perspiring. It's almost like he was taking it, and Patrick Bailey kind of patted him on the back, said, yeah, take a moment. To third, Schneemann goes to second. They get the force there. Won't turn the double play, but that was electric. That's why Daniel Schneemann is one of the best in the business. He gloved it and then made a strong throw to Bazzana. And there are 2 down in the inning.
Yeah, this ball was well struck. Nice backhand right there. And it really took a strong throw. If he just tries to kind of warm sock one over there to second base, Keishel can really run, and he would have beat that out.
So Martin, who was thrown out trying to steal in the 4th inning, might keep him a little closer to the bag with 2 down here in the 6th. And Brooks Lee, the batter, pops the first pitch up. And Bazzana will straddle the line and make the grab to retire the side. 6 complete. It's still 2-1 Twins.
365.
2-1. Guardians trail as we go to the 7th inning. Interesting, I see Joey Cantillo talking with Brad Goldberg. And you're always talking about your craft, right? And I'm wondering, Cody, in the immediate aftermath of an outing. Now, when you were in the game, when your outings were over, the game was over.
Yeah.
But what do you think a pitcher, are you just trying to, like, blow off some nervous energy. Your start's over. You just go to the pitching coach, say, "Hey, you know this. I felt this tonight," or or are you looking for feedback from him what he saw?
I think sometimes you're just looking to debrief, right? Like kind of what you said. Like you still got a lot of adrenaline going.
Batter's challenge and call a strike.
All right, so Chase DeLauder, he didn't like the strike call. ABS powered by T-Mobile.
They still have 2 challenges left.
I think with good reason he didn't like the call.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty easy call there for Chase. But back to kind of what you said about Joey talking with Brad there. But you got a lot of adrenaline. You're pumped up. You know your competitive juices are still flowing, even though you're sitting in the dugout. Your day's done. You need somebody to talk about, like, hey, what were you seeing? This is what I was feeling, and and sometimes it can just be to decompress. But really, the real conversation is going to take place tomorrow, right? When they really break down, like, hey, this is what we did, this is what we didn't do, this is what we did well, this is what we didn't do well. And I can't imagine tomorrow, maybe outside of getting in some bad counts or missing on some pitch shapes, that they're going to have a whole lot to nitpick on the start from tonight.
I agree. He competed his tail off, and that's all you can ever ask of a teammate.
Cody, how much does it help Brad Goldberg maybe hear what Joey's saying right now? So when they debrief tomorrow, it's almost like a head start on what they can have to work on and talk about.
Up the middle, will it get through? Yes, it will. And Chase DeLauder, the tying run is aboard. He's going to turn and burn. He's going to get to second base. Oh, what a heads-up play by Chase and Sandy Alomar as the ball ticked off the glove of Clemens, and it kind of killed it. And Sandy was pointing to second base, and DeLauder saw the sign and said, go.
Yeah, he was pointing to second base right there. Yeah, let's watch the play here. So he's digging out of the box. He knows he's got a shot to maybe make a play. As soon as Cody Clemens touches that ball, he knows he's got a shot. Watch, you can see as soon as he puts his head down and gone.
Jose Ramirez is somewhere smiling.
Yes, he is.
Now Kyle Manzardo knows he's got to get him over at the very least here. Tough day for Manzo thus far. It's been a tough day for just about everybody in this Guardians lineup. Outside of Chase DeLauder, who is 2 for 3, and Rhys Hoskins, who homered in the second. Nobody else has reached base against Taj Bradley.
This is where you can really try and maybe apply some pressure, right? You know, you make him work. Throw some bunch of high stress pitches. You got a leadoff guy at second base, which is the tying run, right? You know, we talk about we're having trouble trying to get that run across. They're
same boat.
You know, they're in the same boat, right? They're facing a pitching staff that they don't like facing, and every run comes at a premium. Taj Bradley knows that, right? So if you can just force him to throw stressful pitch after stressful pitch, then, you know, more than anything, you might be able to just get him out of the game.
Yeah, he's at 94. And Cody, it's easy to just hit the ball to second base and get him to third, right?
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, it is not.
The 1-2 on its way, and Manzardo gets him over.
Did it.
One down, tying run 90 feet away. A word here from Levin Furniture and Mattress.
Get the unbeatable comfort with Lazy Boy recliners, starting at just $395. For an incredible selection of Lazy Boy, shop Levin.
Well, there really are no limits or restrictions on a guy like Taj Bradley. He routinely gets to 100 pitches or very close to it. So even though he's at 95, I'm still surprised that there is nobody stirring yet in the Twins bullpen.
They're moving now.
I think they just got up. You know, they're just now starting to stretch out a little bit.
I think the phone just rang because I see some guys springing into action.
Cody, you know when the phone's getting ready to ring down there, right? You guys get a pretty good feel of it's time.
Yeah, I mean, you understand, like, the situation, the game, you know, the leash, you know, that's the one thing that the guys that have been down there long enough know, that they know, you know, sometimes when a phone rings, everybody knows already who it's going to be.
Andrew Morris gets loose. Infield in for the Twins. Rhys Hoskins at the plate, and the pitch is low, ball 1. Morris, a right-hander.
Cody, you mentioned this last at bat. There was only one fastball that Rhys Hoskins saw after he hit that home run the first time.
Yep. Yeah, and I imagine he's not going to give in to him right here, right? There's not to say he's not going to make a mistake, but you got a guy at third with 1 out. There's no harm in walking him.
Perfect pitch, top of the zone, borderline, but it was in there.
You know, so I imagine they're going to be very careful with Reese right here. They don't want to give him anything that he can extend and get a ball in the air and drive a run in.
Oh, that was a nice. Again, they call it a cutter.
That's a slider.
Like a slider.
I mean,
to me.
you know, he's using it like that. I mean, that is about as good of a pitch you can throw in that situation, right?
That's nasty.
You know, he just sped him up. You know, you got a splitter at the top. That was honestly probably a mistake, but you're not looking for something up there, and then he just dots one down and away. So now you got a battle.
Came right back with another one. Strikes him out. 2 down. That's not the mark of just a good pitcher. That's the mark of the elite guys. When you need a strikeout,
yep,
that's what you're trying to execute, and he does it.
Yep, and that's 3rd time through the lineup too. So Reese has gotten a good look at him, right? You know, a lot of times it's a lot simpler to get a punch out maybe earlier in the game if you need it, rather than late in the game. Because these guys have seen what you've got already, right? He's seen a few sliders, he's seen a few splitters. And that just gives you a glimpse into how good his stuff actually is.
Ryan Rocchio to first base. Lewis takes it himself, and Bradley works around the leadoff double to keep the Twins in front 2-1.
Cleveland through and through.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Cleveland Guardians and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Guardians. Rhys Hoskins homer, the only run for the Guardians thus far tonight. Minnesota with 2 unearned runs in the 2nd inning. They've made it stand up so far. They come to bat in the bottom of the 7th against Eric Sabrowski. He's got the 3-4-5 hitters due up. Josh Bell leads it off and swings at the first pitch and bangs it into center field. His 19th multi-hit game of the season.
And he will let it fly if he sees one he likes. Fastball above the zone. I mean, not a terrible pitch. He was just, you know, hunting something early. Got something up and out over the plate that he liked and got the barrel to it. Kind of like what he did his first at bat against Joey. You know, got some up and out over the plate, hit it hard up the middle. You know, just continues to swing a hot bat from both sides of the plate to start the month of July.
You know, we've been blessed to watch some really good switch hitters.
Yeah.
And just in recent memory, obviously Jose Ramirez.
Yep.
And he's like, maybe the numbers don't bear it out, but just watching him, he's almost a mirror image from both sides of the plate. Lindor was very similar from both sides of the plate in terms of what the swing looked like, what the approach was like. Victor Martinez, same kind of thing. Josh Bell is like a completely different guy from one side of the plate to the other.
Yeah.
You think about from the left side, it's the long, almost under. He's trying to golf the ball. He's trying to drive it. From the right side, it's short and choppy and he hits for a better average, not as much power.
He's one of those guys, his heat maps, look, they're 2 different hitters. They're 2 completely different guys, whether it's a lefty or righty on the mound. And sometimes that is the case, but, you know, yeah, you said Jose and all those guys, man, their approach doesn't change. And, you know, I think those guys who are so good and so consistent from both sides of the plate, they just have unbelievable hands, right? They really let their hands work. Jose is one of those guys. I remember us going into Detroit and Justin Verlander talking about, like, we have no idea what to do with this guy because he can hit any pitch anywhere at any time. And you really can't do that unless you have elite level hands.
There are a lot of switch hitters in the history of the game where if it got to a late inning matchup, the manager was, I'm going to turn him around and hit him from the other side. With Jose, you may roll the dice and say, well, he doesn't have as much power from the right side, so let's take that chance, even though he hits for better average from that side. Not much of an advantage one way or the other as Lewis goes down swinging. Sabrowski gets a big strikeout for the first out of this 7th inning.
Yeah, you know, look at this pitch right here. Eric's got, obviously we know that he can spin it. He's got an elite curveball. He's got the good four seam above. But that is a really, really good, nice, tight, short kind of slider cutter right there that's just chasing Lewis's belt buckle right there. And he just kind of gets out in front and waves right over top of it.
Fastball right in there. Victor Caratini, 1 out of 3 on the night. Swing and a miss. Check out the scores from around the league, courtesy of Bet365. When you think about how much time hitters spend in the cages working on hitting, batting practice, all the various things they do, and to double that workload if you're a switch hitter, it's astounding to think how much that, or just the extra work it takes to stay on top of it.
Yeah, I mean, Andre, you probably saw it more than I did being down there. But, man, those guys, you know, they're, especially if you're coming off the bench, right?
Oh, man.
You know, like
right field, moving over to Lauder, makes a running catch.
Cody, I'll give you the perfect example. I remember years ago when Lindor and Hosey first came up and had some success. I was like, hey, can I just watch you guys do everything? And I'll never forget Lindor and Jose saying at the same time, every swing I take left-handed, I have to take right-handed. You got that much time?
Yeah.
It was like every day.
You know, and those guys are getting ready. They know they're going into the game, right? They know they might be facing a lefty. They might be facing a righty. You know, you take a guy like Carlos Santana who might be taking a day off or whatever, but he might pinch hit late. He just doesn't know if he's going to pinch hit left-handed or right-handed.
Yeah,
but the work's got to be the same.
Exactly.
Crush deep left. It's over the head of Quan. He knocks it down. Couldn't haul it in. Bell's coming around third. He's going to score. On his way to third, Cody Clemens. A 2-out RBI triple that Stephen Kwan got 2. He got leather on it, couldn't reel it in. That ball was really scalded, and Kwan was on his horse on a dead sprint.
Yeah, third triple of the year this season for Cody Clemens, and man, he almost comes up with that. You know, another inch of leather and the inning's over, but you know, gets it in quickly. Almost has a shot there at third base, but man, just out of the reach of the Gold Glover.
(3-1) Twins, and Ryan Kreidler, the batter, doubled in the third inning. Up, Sabrowski's calling for it, and he makes the play himself to retire the side. Minnesota tacks on an insurance run, and we head to the 8th with the Guardians down 2. Daniel Schneemann, see if he can get it started for Cleveland when we come back. We're really good.
Dots, sensationally seasoned pretzels.
The Home Depot getting it done. Working on a win, working on a win. You look at the bullpen matchup, and it looks like it's definitely a strength for Cleveland and a weakness for Minnesota. But this guy has a pretty good arm.
Yeah, this guy's got good stuff. He's probably been the most effective reliever for these guys as of late, especially the last month and a half. Elite fastball, 95, 97 with lots of ride. You see his delivery. It's just directly straight over the top, right? He's kind of got a very unorthodox delivery, so this look for this Guardians lineup is going to be very different. Yeah, fastball, changeup, cutter to the lefties, fastball, sweeper, cutter to the righties. See that? It's just that cutter right there at 93, but it really just kind of takes off. It's got a lot of ride, right? You know, it's hard to get above the ball on Andrew Morris. A guy like this, though, with his stuff, you know, his fastball plays extremely well at the top of the zone. You've got to get him at the bottom, right? You've got to make him bring the fastball down. That's a really good take. 99, top of the zone with a lot of carry. You know, I'm sure out of the hand, you know, you're trying to be on time. Those hands get moving a little bit early, and that thing's just taking off, taking off, taking off. Once you start, you can't really stop.
Ground ball to second base. And Cummins will throw him out, 1 down. And a word now from Kia. You know, Patrick Bailey struck out twice against Taj Bradley. Andrew Morris coming into tonight, 32 appearances, 41 innings of work. And that goes back to his debut.
Yeah.
On April 12th, he held the Blue Jays to a single run in 3 innings of relief work in what ended up being an 8-2 win for Minnesota. He would have qualified for a save if he'd have pitched 1 more inning. But he had thrown 67 pitches in those 3 innings of relief work. He gave up 6 hits and threw a ton of pitches. A lot of deep counts. But I mean, heck, it's his major league debut. It's still quite memorable, though.
Yeah, on a major league debut, you know, I would say for most guys, your strike throwing ability goes down a little bit. You feel like you're pitching from center field. A lot of nerves. He's got good stuff. I do think the one thing that can get him though is getting in bad counts, and once you get some traffic out there, you know, you got the chance to do some damage, and you know, one pitch, you know, can change a lot.
Bailey will challenge.
Ballard's a challenge and to call a strike.
Bailey thought it was ball 4. In fact, it's strike 2.
1 challenge left.
And a full count. Hardest one to see. ABS powered by T-Mobile. Hardest one to see the pitch away. You think, you assume it looks like it's outside, but. And strike 3 called. Stephen Vogt admitted before the game they have not done a good job of weaponizing ABS, and he said it's something we've got to work on and figure out how to get better at.
You know, but that right there is why ABS is effective, and why I think a lot of teams like it. You know, that went from a walk to a strikeout, and by, you know, less than a centimeter, right? You know, you have the technology to do it. You know, some teams are really, really good at it. I think Victor Caratini's had a really good game tonight, using challenges when he needs to. But it'll be interesting to see how the AB system kind of evolves over the next few years. Maybe how teams use it. How, you know, do they save them for late in the game?
Stephen Kwan, he's robbed of a hit. Kreidler diving, steals one away from Kwan, and that's the kind of night it has been for Cleveland. Score big on authentic gear at MLBshop.com. Official jerseys, memorabilia, hats, hoodies, whatever you want, they've got you covered. Visit MLBshop.com/Guardians, the official source for your Guardians gear. Matt Festa is on to pitch for the Guardians here in inning number 8. Cleveland trailing at 3-1. Luke Keyshaw, a couple of hits on the night. His last one was certainly a memorable. You don't see too many bats just completely explode like his did, but he hit it so low near the trademark. Now he barreled that one up. It is deep, but back to grab it is Watson, just shy of the track for out number 1.
You know, just before that at bat right there, that he struck that ball pretty well, but it was an out. He is having the exact opposite of the night as Stephen Kwan. Kwan has smoked a few balls, and they have just either had it played perfectly or
on it.
You know, Kreidler makes a diving catch in the hole. And you know, you talk about going through seasons as a club, man. Sometimes winning is just more difficult, not because you're playing worse or playing better. but the game just seems harder for the time being.
And if we're a guy like Quan, who's been trying to get in a rhythm hitting, you know, he finally has 3 good at bats. He's had, I think, an 8-game hit streak coming in. And you got it. And mentally, this is why you got to be strong, right, Cody? He had the swings. He hit the pitches hard that he got, but has nothing to show for it when he leaves today.
Yep. Yeah, moral victories are tough to swallow when you barrel up 3. And
your old manager told me there were none of those in this game.
Man, yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, we all got to own the back of our baseball cards at the end of the day, but sometimes, man, you feel like you just got cheated.
You know, I remember Eric Wedge. He told me one time, he said, you know why we shake hands at the end of a win? Nice backhanded play by Mansardo. And I said, no, why? He said, I'm thinking he's going to give me some history of the tradition. He said, because it's hard to win a Major League Baseball game.
Yes, it is.
And he said, when you get it done, when you get the 27th out, you deserve to shake hands and celebrate, because he said it's really hard to win out here at this level. Everybody on both sides is so doggone good.
It is really, really hard, and sometimes you need things to go your way, right? I mean, you know, look at the Twins tonight. You know, they hit a few balls, broken bat hits. They just put a couple balls in the right spot, and they're up 3-1, right? You know, and we've got 3 hits tonight, but we've barreled up a few, and you know, sometimes you just get beat, right? Taj Bradley's pitched a heck of a ball game tonight. You know, he didn't give you really any chance to breathe.
I'll give you one on this as you go through that, Cody. The top exit velos of the night, right? Because that's what all the guys want to know, how hard they hit the ball. Top 3 hardest hit balls of the night were all hit by Guardians.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. You know, it's like, you know, some of the metrics and the guys, you know, stuff that you're your controllables, right? You just want to control your controllables. Those things, just because you got them doesn't equate to a win.
Swing and a miss. Yeah. Sometimes you need that broken bat, 40 mile an hour off the bat bleeder to fall in, and that gets you a win. Nobody said it was fair. 2-1 pitch. Good one. Evens the count. And the Guardians are not done yet. They've got one last at bat coming in the 9th.
Top of the order, I believe, right?
You are correct, sir.
Yes, we do.
And the 2-2 is fouled off to the right. A word here from Bet365.
Did you win?
Let's just say the next round of omelets is on me, fellas.
Bet $10, get $200 in bonus bets.
Now the 2-2. Couldn't pull the trigger. It was just a tad low, I believe.
Man, that was a really good pitch. I am not sure, especially after the last 2 swings he's had on fastballs up and away. I'm not sure how he took that one.
Crushed that one. Left field, Quan breaking in on it. Again, knocks it down and holds him to a long single. Martin had designs on a double, and when Quan immediately flipped it back towards the infield, he dashed back to first.
This fastball down, kind of sold out, knew he was probably getting something hard, and Quan, he was thinking about it, right? He was thinking about trying to make a play on it, and then at the very last second was able to back off, keep it in front, hold Martin at first base. You know, that could pay dividends here in just a minute. Just keeping him there and keeping him out of scoring position.
I will say, and I don't think that was an issue, but the interesting thing about Target Field is the lights are not that high above the last row of seating here, and sometimes those low line drives for the corner outfielders can kind of get hung up in that lighting. Don't know if that was the issue or not, but when you see you guys sort of hesitate, you wonder sometimes if that might have been the issue. That could have just been the perfectly placed line drive, though.
Yeah, wouldn't you normally see when balls get in lights like that, though, you normally see guys kind of throw their hands up, like they kind of protecting themselves?
Weekly hit, center field. Watson grabs it, side retired. Last chance for the Guardians coming up. They trail by 2. Bazzana, Watson, DeLauder will come up for Cleveland in the 9th. Our progressive defensive plays of the game, Stephen Kwan. He could have more than one hit tonight. That was a line drive snared away from him in the 6th. And then in the 8th, they did it again. Lee and Kreidler. Criminals. I tell you, they're criminals.
Thieves. Man, keep swinging it, Kwani. I mean, you can't ask for more than that, right? Other than hits in the box score.
He came in with hits in 11 of his last 12 games, so that swing is looking more like Stephen Kwan over the last 2 weeks. Definitely a good sign for this offense, but right now they need a base runner to get the tying run of the plate against Taylor Rogers. Bazzana check swing to third, but playing in and able to make the play. Brooks Lee, 1 down. Our KeyBank key play of the game in the 7th inning. It was a 1-run game with 2 down, and then Cody Clemens went down and smoked one just beyond the reach of Stephen Kwan. Got leather on it, couldn't quite bring it in, and that got the Twins the 3rd run of the game and made it a 2-run advantage. And now here in the 9th with 1 down and the Guardians trailing by 2, Stephen Vogt will pinch hit David Fry for Khalil Watson.
Caratini out there with Rogers, just making sure they're on the same page with the pinch hitter coming up. Fry obviously really likes facing left-handed pitchers, so see if you can get him aboard and get the tied run to the plate.
Taylor Rogers, interestingly enough, has been traded 5 times in his career, and the guys he's been traded with are pretty good. Josh Hader was in the trade when he went to from the Padres to the Brewers. Brian Hayes, when he got traded from the Reds to the Pirates, and when he got traded from the Twins to San Diego, he went with Brent Rooker, who was a pretty decent hitter for a few years.
Yeah, I'll just never forget watching him in San Francisco, him and his twin brother warm up in the same bullpen side by side.
Down low.
That's a good take.
The most opposite twins of all time.
Right?
And I'm not talking about Minnesota Twins.
No, I mean, they're identical twins, but yet somebody, I mean, I wonder who taught who to throw a baseball.
What his brother does is unbelievable.
I was going to say the mailman, but that could have a negative connotation.
Stop.
It's like, Dad taught Taylor and Mom taught Tyler.
Tyler, right.
David Fry down on the count. That was interesting. I thought Caratini was signaling to Rogers. I think he was signaling to Cody Clemens, the second baseman.
Oh, interesting. I thought he was telling Rogers, like, hey, it's got to be away. It's got to be away.
Maybe that's what he was doing, but I saw Clemens moving at the same time. Maybe Clemens thought he was telling him to move. Strike 3 called. Locked him up with a fastball.
That's just a big-time pitch right there. Look at this spot right here. I mean,
might have been worth a challenge with in the 9th inning, but it was close.
It was really, really good pitch. I mean, he did a good job of setting that up, going back foot slider, go away, and then right back in there.
2 down, 9th inning. Those here are on their feet.
See if DeLauder can extend the inning right here. $17,813
up on their feet on a warm, muggy Tuesday evening here in Minnesota. You know, after the deadline purge of a year ago, I don't think there were a lot of high hopes here in the Twin Cities, but you have to give Derek Shelton a lot of credit for coming in here and making them a very competitive team. And here they are on the verge of closing in on Cleveland and Chicago as we near the All-Star break.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, we're in the middle of July. You know, we're not even into August yet, and you're only a half, 3 games out essentially at this point. So, I mean, that's one good homestand or good road trip away from your trade deadline, plans completely changing.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 down. And DeLauder pulls it foul. Chase had 2 hits against Taj Bradley. He gave up 3 in 7 innings of work.
It's a good take. He's got to find a way on right here. Find a way on, put the pressure on.
Gabriel Arias moving to the on-deck circle. He would bat for Manzardo. Twins do have a right-hander up the counter. DeLauder sends one high and down the line, but foul and out of play, so that'll give him another opportunity. That was a breaking ball and not where Rogers wanted it, but he got away with it as it ends up just being a foul ball. Andres Gomez, right-hander, up for the Twins. And a bouncer foul broke the bat of DeLauder, so he'll need a new stick. Should Chase reach, it'd be interesting to see. I would think that Derek Shelton would go to the right-hander to face Arias. But you got to get there first.
Yes. Yeah, and Gomez does have, he's got the most saves on this team, so he's got a lot of experience closing these games out. But right now with all these lefties, you got to go with Rogers.
Breaking ball missed inside, ball 4. So here's the decision for Shelty as Gabriel Arias is announced as the pinch hitter for Manzardo. He's in no hurry to make a move if he's going to.
Looks like he's going to let him ride. Nope. Let me eat those words real quick.
He just wanted to
drawing it out. He looked like he was getting comfortable in that seat.
Mystery, suspense, intrigue, drama. What more could you ask for in a ball game? We've got it all. 3-1 Twins. Tying run to the plate with 2 out when we come back. Andres Gomez on for Minnesota. He has pitched in 6 games in his career against Cleveland. Came to the Twins via Tampa Bay. Also pitched for the Yankees.
Ended up being a nice pickup for the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah.
Got DFA'd by Tampa. It looks like they acquired him just for cash. And he's been one of the few stable forces in that bullpen.
He's gone 8 for 8 in save situations with Minnesota.
Coming into a big spot here.
Pitch hitting is Gabriel Arias, tying run at the plate for Cleveland, and a swing and a miss and a breaking ball. Maybe we can work a reverse jinx here, because in 12 appearances at home this year, Gomez has struck out 12 batters in 10 2/3 innings and given up just 5 hits and 1 run. Fastball blew it by him, 0-2.
Gabby obviously trying to do damage there that first pitch, but now you're down 0-2. We've really got to just try and extend the inning. That's all we're trying to do. Just get it to the next guy.
Swing and a miss, struck him out, and that's the ball game. Gomez, a perfect 9 for 9 in save situations for Minnesota, as the Twins take the series opener by a score of 3-1, and they're 3-1 on the year now against Cleveland. Taj Bradley was magnificent to get his 8th win of the season. Joey Cantillo, the tough luck loser, 2 unearned runs doomed him tonight. He falls to 7-4. With the win, Minnesota's won 13 of 20 to get to 45 and 47, and Cleveland falls to 47 and 45. Once again, the offense just unable to generate many opportunities, but the credit really does have to go to Taj Bradley, who shut down the Guardians with an electrifying performance in his 7 innings of work. Stay tuned. Guardians postgame is coming up next. 3-1 the final tonight in the series opener between the Guardians and the Twins.